Welcome to the M2 Podcast. This is the show where we cover esports and personalities, gaming industry related news, new and upcoming games, and technology and innovation. I am your host, Michael Antony, my co-host over here, sipping on a little bit of looks like antitoxins over there. Yeah, the buy. I like
Yeah,
that little fruity drink. It's really good.
so good.
Um, Mr. JK Heath, Kyle Heath, and what have you been up to this week, man?
Um, it's same old, same old. I think for the most part, not too different for me. I do want to say though, I got back into Splitgate a little bit. That's
I
like
know.
that's the new game I've been like playing. Oh, new game, but yeah, dude, I haven't had more fun on an arena shooter in a very long time. I have to be honest.
It's a great game, man. It's really
Dude, it's
good.
so good. Um,
And it's free to play,
yeah, I
which
know.
makes it even better.
Yeah,
The, how you like the weapon skins? Did you unlock anything that was pretty cool?
I haven't unlocked anything yet, but I definitely want to spend a little more time on the game. I think and get some of those skins because like from what you were showing me that one time, they're just
Dude, they're
like killer, man.
dude, the animated skins on all these weapons, and, like, you saw my guy's, like, his entire outfit is a galaxy projection that I think I got through, like, Amazon Prime Day. They were giving out free codes,
Yeah,
and I think that's where I got it. I don't really remember, but yeah, it's sick. And you can, like, unlock even better skins like it's COD, in like Call of Duty when you start playing and you're using the gun, you get like these milestones, they'll give you skins for it. And that's what Splitgate does as well. It's pretty sick.
yeah, that's really nice.
Hmm.
Gives people a reason to play and a reason for me probably to jump back in every now and again. But yeah, no,
Oh yeah.
it was a lot of fun. I don't know why like I didn't like play again sooner because I mean I remember I had fun when I first played like whenever it came out. For some reason I just like never came back to it until now. So but here we are, we're back, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Facts. Yeah, it's a good game. Have you been playing anything else?
Um, nothing of note, I don't think. Of course, usual Smite, usual I think usual Apex. Although Apex this week for me, I haven't had a chance. There's a brand new update that dropped this week for Apex, new season. So there's a lot of changes, and from what I've seen, they release a new legend too every season. So the new legend is pretty sick. What I've seen, she has a sniper as her alt. That's pretty nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And she also has insane mobility. Like she can jump like really high in the air and stuff like that, like over walls, like really like tall walls and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like I can think of like a lot of like scenarios, especially like competitive scenario where it's like you're trying to like get to someplace quickly or like you have to get over some like barrier and then you just like
Yeah.
jump up with her and not like completely uh kind of outplay somebody. So there's a lot of potential there with this new legend. So it'll be exciting to see. But there's also a lot of meta changes too. But I won't go
That's what I
too
was about to say.
into
Yeah,
that.
like how would the meta change by introducing a character like that? It'd be pretty interesting to like
Yeah,
revisit if you're a player that's been out of the game for a while. For a while,
yeah,
it can be a good idea.
yeah. I mean, because like the typical comp meta for those who like pay attention at all to Apex Legends competitive, there's a Gibraltar who's like the main like guy. He's a guy that has an ult where shoots rockets down, but he also has a bubble, like a shield bubble that you can pop up at any moment. It's like his like Q ability. So it like charges every 30 seconds or something like that, or every minute, like you get this shield bubble. And for the longest time, people would use this character. It was like you had to have him, especially for late game, whenever you're like in these close circles and there's like 8 teams left. It's like crucial to have like quick cover, especially if you don't have something on hand.
Yeah.
So a lot of people would run him, and now one of Mad Maggie, a character that's been in the game for a while, her alt now, I think it's her alt, has the ability now to actually destroy those bubbles. So it's a
Oh.
little counterplay. I haven't had a chance to see how that plays out in like late game, but just on paper that sounds like pretty good counter to give now. So I'll have to see people run her, but yeah,
I've seen a couple of pros on Twitter in the Apex community that was talking about how it's like it's it's they're excited for it, but they're also like worried to see how the meta is going to change on them.
yeah,
Because
oh
every
yeah,
time a meta changes, you don't know if it's going to benefit you or if it's going to take away from your abilities. Because everybody plays the game differently.
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, there's always, I think with games like that, especially, there are those legends that stay like in the typical rotation where it's like they they don't really veer off like too much from like maybe 3 or 4 different legends in the game. It's like pretty much every team runs. But yeah, I mean, but I do like Apex trying to switch things up and change like the meta in some way. So it's just it keeps the game fresh. And that's like super important to do, especially for battle royale. So um yeah, that's one of the luxuries I feel like they have is, you know, you have all these characters and all these abilities. You can really like tweak and change and add on to, you know, what already exists, and it can completely change the game. So it'll be interesting to see competitive, see how that plays out with all the new changes.
Yeah, sick. Sounds exciting.
Yeah. So
Um,
I mean, what about you, Mike? What have you been up to?
not too much, I would say. Like it I think the only games that I've been really grinding and like playing, I got back into Rocket League again. I'm just messing around in there occasionally. Played a little bit more Halo 2. I got inspired by the guys doing the tournament. I really didn't play a lot of games like this past weekend. And this week was just kind of slow as well.
Yeah.
But on my radar to play is I want to continue playing Star Wars Jedi Academy. I want to finish that up just to like revisit again because it's been ages since I've actually. Then there are a couple other games like I want to get back onto Forza and even get on Splitgate. I'll join you for Splitgate
Yeah.
matches at some point
Well, yeah, I'm
because
like I'm 100% down.
it's so much
It's
fun.
like I wish because like I know you played a little bit after the pod last week, like when I was cutting stuff
Yeah, I
up
did.
and like when I was rendering and stuff. So but yeah, and I kind of regret not hopping on. So we'll definitely have to do something very soon. But yeah,
Yeah, it was a great time
it's
too.
it's so much fun, man. Definitely.
See, it was kind of funny. It was like I think I yelled a few times about like people, and I like
Yeah,
haven't done that in a long time. Like
yeah,
in Halo, I'll do that. I used to do it a lot, but because Halo's just been around for like 20 years, I
yeah,
kind of like just stuff happens that you know you're gonna get screwed over, so it doesn't bother me.
yeah,
But when it's happening in Splitgate, I'm like, wow,
yeah.
like I
Freaking
don't
out.
understand this game.
Yeah, I mean, I will
Yeah.
say, I think a lot of my enjoyment for Splitgate is just we're just doing quick play, like we're not playing ranked.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
it's the vibe.
that's like most of it is, you know, we've been like just messing around in quick play, but you
Are
know,
you
a
playing
little
with
ranked wouldn't hurt.
Are you playing with gamepad or are you playing with keyboard and mouse?
Oh, I'm doing keyboard and mouse. So that's
Oh
what I
snap.
think. I I don't know. Yeah, I mean, especially like That's I haven't had a good arena shooter on keyboard and mouse like lately. I mean, you
Okay.
know, like I don't consider Apex like Apex, of course, is an arena shooter, so I think it plays like very differently. But I like how fast paced this game is, and like I haven't played a fast paced FPS on keyboard and mouse in a minute. So so yeah, it felt good.
Probably since like Titanfall,
Yeah,
I would think.
yeah, something like that. I mean, yeah, even COD like to a certain extent. I know I played Modern Warfare 2019 on keyboard and mouse, and that was a lot of fun. So
Hmm. Yeah, God's cool. That's a game I got to get back on too.
yeah.
Hit up one of my buddies to play 2v2 gunfight if they still even have that. I haven't loaded up that game in ages. I probably have like 300 plus gigabytes worth of updates.
I know that game takes up half a hard drive anyway.
So, yeah, I'm getting dangerously close to filling up my hard drive with all these games. But
Yeah, it's
yeah.
sort of constant dilemma on my PC too. So
Hmm. So I guess the main point of the podcast is to cover this week's news, and we
sure
had
it
a
is.
bit of a short week, but
Yeah,
we do have a couple of good ones for you.
yeah. I mean, as always, we find something, right? It's
Yeah,
we never try to leave you hanging. Um, and I actually wanted to start off this this week here with a little Nvidia news, Nvidia GPUs. So Nvidia sales are actually dropping. It's dropping fast, according to this article. And people are suspecting price tags could very well follow. Um, Nvidia's gaming graphics cards sales are down 44% compared to last quarter. Um, they just revealed that its fiscal Q2 results showed that the firm made approximately be approaching lower than 20% of the projected overall revenue, part of which was due to a significant decline in gaming GPU sales. Gaming revenue hit 2.04 billion for the year, which was 33% down compared to the previous year, and a hefty 44% down quarter on quarter. Um, CEO commented, "Our gaming products sell through projections declined significantly as the quarter progressed, as we expect the macroeconomic conditions affecting sell through to continue. we took actions with our gaming partners to adjust channel prices and inventory. Um, so yeah, I mean, overall, it's a pretty tricky situation. Article does go on grave, I guess, in grave detail about a little bit more. They said, as you may recall, we saw the aforementioned actions to adjust pricing when Nvidia implemented a plan to considerably cut the recommended price tags on the 3090 Ti, the 3090, 3080 Ti, and the 3080. Um, the question is, will we see more price cutting in the near future? The rumor mill has been rifled for some time now. Chatters of Nvidia partners meeting third-party graphics and manufacturers have a whole lot of excess 30 series cards in stock, which I know we reported on that, I think, a little bit, or at least we talked about, prices certainly are way down. Um, and if it's true, sales activity falling quite heavily from one quarter to the next certainly wouldn't help. Um, yeah, I mean, so it seems like overall, sales are down, but um, we already had a significant kind of price cut, like with a lot of these cards. So I mean, like it's entirely possible that with this fall, we'll see even more price cuts. I mean, how low do you think we can even go here with these cards? I feel like we're already like hitting some lows, but it's like, how far are they willing to go?
Yeah, I think they can go pretty low. Um, but I don't think it could go below like 750 for the 39 Ti, but the 39 Ti was selling for over $2,000 and they marked it down to about 1,200 or 1,400.
Yeah,
And if prices are going to keep falling, I mean, well, I guess the real question is like, so the numbers are coming from Nvidia for their sales figures, right?
yeah,
And their sales figures are coming from their like EVGA and MSI and all these other places that are buying up the cards and then basically modding them for a resell, right?
yeah,
But what about the market right now, secondhand market where people are just like selling on eBay or like uh Amazon directly to another consumer?
yeah,
And like those, I feel like there's a lot more of those right now because of the whole crypto mining.
yeah, like for sure. The whole thing with that too is like in the secondhand market, especially like with the crypto mining, if you're buying from a miner, there's a good chance that the card is either like I wouldn't say damaged, but it's like it's severely used to the point where
Oh gosh, yeah.
it's like as if the average gamer used it for like 5-6 years probably in some cases, and it's just like
Yeah.
chugging along. Um, but yeah, I mean, the secondhand market surely doesn't help the current stock that they have and the excess that they have. Um, yeah, the article does suggest I think a couple of ways that Nvidia could probably reevaluate and possibly get rid of some of the stock before they move on. They were saying if they want to help sell off the 30 series inventory, they may want to slow down the 40 series launch process. By which apparently it says we mean that as some whispers from the grapevine have suggested that only the 4090 may come out this year, with the 4080 and the others to follow in early 2023. It is just a rumor. A large amounts it says large amounts of seasoning must be applied, but maybe it's possible that Nvidia might stagger the launch of the Lovelace models more than usual, with slightly longer delays between GPUs and the originally rumored month-on-month cadence of the 4090, 4080, and 4070. Um, which, it sucks it would take a little longer to get the cards, but I mean, for Nvidia's sake, that's probably not a bad idea. Just to say,
Yeah.
like, get the flagship out, get that in the hands of like testers and see what the best of the best can do. And then, for more consumers that'll probably go for the lower tiers, it's probably gonna be worth the wait anyway for, just to hold out a little bit. Um so that's certainly not a bad idea. Certainly not a bad approach, but yeah, I mean, if it's just for me, it's such a weird spot of like I never would have suspected in like a million years that Nvidia would have a dilemma like this where they had like excess cards, right?
Yeah. Especially after like there was a shortage on everything. Now they just have
Yeah.
too much to the point that they're delaying a launch of an entire card. And their R&D departments, like they got to stay employed. They're probably still trying to make the next RTX 50
I
series
mean, yeah.
or 5000 series. So it's like it's going to keep going. I don't know where we go from here, right?
Yeah.
Like the RTX 4000 series is supposed to be the most amount of launch cards in like Nvidia's history.
Yeah.
So they probably just have like an entire warehouse full of all these cards by now.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure. You know, yeah, there's
Oh,
definitely there's a lot of lead that comes into creating these cards. So
oh
yeah,
yeah,
I mean they're they're probably. I mean, it's one of those things too. I mean, we I think it's very likely we'll probably see like some like slightly kind of staggered 40 series numbers at launch of like the amount of cards I actually have because
yeah.
it's like I think it all comes down to the raw performance that the 40 series will have because if it's leaps and bounds better than the 30 series, it's going to be really hard for them to sell those cards. Like they would have to they would really I think have to just like kind of yeah, I wouldn't well, I don't know. I mean, maybe in some cases they may lose money trying to like cut prices and sell them. It's like but that may be what they have to do to get rid of inventory. So, it's a it's so weird like it's never really happened. So I can't think of what the best thing may be, but um I think at the very least they could probably lose at least a little bit of money on the previous series from just, the amount of access they have.
Oh yeah. So the other thing is too about the new cards is they're supposed to be like it's going to require a lot more power consumption, a lot more wattage
Yeah.
than any previous cards that Nvidia's ever made. Um, there has been some rumors that I saw on Twitter. I don't know how true they are, but they were talking about like the estimated power assumption has been dropped by upwards of like 30%. So
Yeah.
people were thinking it was going to be like 450 watts for a 4080. Another thing it's more like 320 watts, but that's still killer. That's
Yeah.
like that's a
It's
lot of
crazy, man.
power.
I mean, yeah, that's the
Um,
thing. Like, dude, if I was to slap one of those cards in my rig now, I'm pretty sure I have an 850 watt. So that's like, 40-50% of the the wattage right there.
which is
Just the card.
nuts because
Which,
like
yeah,
it's not steady current. It'll spike on you.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, I mean, also for like PC building in general, you want to keep your wattage, like power supply
Yes.
buy, you want to keep your wattage in a certain range on that supply is to be the most like energy efficient and cost efficient. Um,
Yeah, it's
so
stable.
yeah,
Stable's the big
and just
thing.
stability. Like, yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's I mean, I'm really, really excited to see how tech YouTubers when they get these cards and like what I would view as like masterpieces they can build. Like there's a guy out of China and he runs a YouTube channel and he basically makes these like amazing rigs. And he does it with like all the brand new stuff. And he does the most ridiculous things, man. He's doing like he was trying to put like 3 RTX 3090 Ti's and SLI.
Oh my
I'm
god.
like, they, like, don't even work like
Yeah.
that. I don't think they do. And he has this, like, the giant Threadripper, like, super nice Ryzen and stuff like that, and, like, doing all these, like, uh, obviously, like, hard tubing and stuff. Everything's, like, gold and
Yeah.
chrome plated. It's like a $50,000 PC.
Yeah.
They're gonna need, like, a 2 kilowatt power supply, man.
I
Or,
know,
like,
like something
just 'cause
crazy, man.
it's so much.
That's the thing.
Multiple power supplies that have to be running simultaneously.
Yeah. I mean, you see, like, have you seen any of those power supplies? I think that I want to say it was Fantex. They put out some power supplies because that were specifically meant so you could have a two PC setup in one case.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like those are like pretty high in watts too. They're pretty expensive
It
because you got to power two PCs. It's like,
yeah, they're nuts.
it's
Yeah,
definitely a thing.
yeah, I thought about the 2 PC setup and 2 PCs in one, case because like, I wanna upgrade again, but I'm thinking maybe I should just upgrade everything all at once and then keep my old stuff for, like, a guest computer or, like, a workstation, a stream PC. I mean, you don't really need that when you get a 4080 though,
Yeah,
or, like, 39 Ti right now, you don't even need that.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
but I was just like, "Yeah, why not?" You know? Like, bit of enthusiasm, enthusiastic point of view, like,
Yeah.
let's just do it because we can do it.
I know
Um,
for real. I mean,
mhm.
one last thing before we move on too, like I don't know if you've seen. I'm sure you've seen like the toilet builds and stuff like that recently. Like some
Oh,
guy
yeah.
took a PC and they built it in the tank of a toilet, and the toilet was still functioning. Like
Yeah.
they made it so that they walled off the actual motherboard from the water, so
So
it's still
funny.
function. It's like it's crazy to me. Um, But yeah, I've seen like creative builds like that recently. It's wild, man. That the PC building community gets kind of nuts. Crazy.
Yeah, 'cause why not?
I mean, yeah, seriously, why not? Speaking of why not just go with xCloud, like Xbox Game Pass? You
Dude,
know,
we've been saying it for a while. Did I tell you I was playing on XCloud? I think I told you that.
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was playing, Grounded, I think is the name, where the kids are in the backyard. It's like
yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Yep.
but
Grounded.
yeah, it's first person. That is terrifying, dude. When you see, like, an ant
Yeah,
coming at you,
yeah. I
it's
know it's
like
big too. You're like, oh god. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
But I digress. Let's get into this,
yeah.
get into the
Um,
cloud.
yeah. I pulled an article from Tech Radar. Um, it says the next Xbox Game Pass Ultimate upgrade could make your gaming PC redundant, obsolete. May not need it. You may not need all that power.
I don't
Um,
doubt him.
yeah, pretty bold claim, but it's the article suggests that it says so. It says bundled with all Game Pass Ultimate subscriptions. Xbox Cloud Gaming lets you stream titles to your Series X, Xbox, PC. Everyone knows that. Currently, you can only stream select titles from the Game Pass library. Microsoft's 2019 event, the company shared plans to let members stream from the cloud Xbox games they already own or will purchase by 2020, as they said at the time. Of course, that has since passed. We haven't seen anything on that. Um, but Microsoft actually reaffirmed that goal this year in June's Xbox Wire post, saying that we could expect it later this year, but it appears that the feature could be rolling out sooner rather than later. Um, xCloud Gaming logo recently appeared on the store pages of several non-Game Pass titles. Twitter user, there's some Twitter users that spotted Elden Ring and GTA 5 bearing a Cloud Gaming badge. Um, Meanwhile, another Twitter user noticed the logo on Red Dead Redemption 2, The Witcher 3, Dark Souls 3, and more. Um, it recently appeared on store pages of several on Game Pass games. Um, the logos have since been removed, with a bug being cited as the cause, but their appearance suggests that Microsoft is likely gearing up to add the titles to the streaming platform fairly soon. We're in August now. Microsoft only has 4 months left to make good on its promise to roll it out this year. So there's a little kind of expansion onto that in this piece. So when the expanded service does launch, it could be a game changer. Titles mentioned above are some of the biggest releases of the last few years, and having the option to play them through the cloud makes them far more accessible to PC gamers. You won't need a top of the line rig kitted out with the best graphics card to play them. Instead, you could purchase the games for a console, redeem them through your Microsoft account, and start streaming them on your old clunker of a PC. Just the laptop that you barely use anymore. Um,
It's a fact, though.
yeah, it's very true. That's the beauty of xCloud, right? I will say I have not personally played an xCloud game on my laptop, although it'd probably be a good test if I wanted to just boot something up on the laptop and try it. Um,
Do you have a tablet? That's how I did it. I
yeah.
hooked up the
Um,
tablet and did a Bluetooth with an Xbox controller, and I was playing on it.
yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think I have a rinky little like fire tablet. It wouldn't run anything, so I'm like convinced it
Give
probably
it a
wouldn't
shot.
work. I mean, yeah, I may try it. I feel like it'd be like my phone though, my old phone probably something similar. I wouldn't really be able to run it due to just the hardware. Even though like in theory it shouldn't use hardware. I don't know. It's weird. But
I know
overall,
I've talked
you
to
know,
you about I know I've talked to you about this before. XO1, that the game that's, like, free to play on Xbox if you have Game Pass, it's also on xCloud. I would recommend that game because it's a very visually pleasing game, and it has sort of an interesting story, but it's more gameplay than story, if that makes sense. So it's
hmm,
like you learn the story by playing the game,
I
and
see.
there's,
I
like,
see.
little Easter eggs here and there of, like, what's actually happening. You have to kinda pay attention to figure it out yourself,
Yeah.
and it's really just, like, a super simple arcadey obstacle course style game. You start at point A, you have to go to point B, and then point B leads you to a different point where you have to do another process in a different environment. Um, Highly recommend that because it's perfect for cloud gaming. It's just you could do it on your phone or your tablet and just use your fingers.
Yeah.
And like use like two fingers and that's it, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. That might be the
perfect.
play. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
At
I'll
least to
have
try it out.
yeah. Check that out. Um. So yeah, I mean, something like that. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that on mobile platform would, yeah, it's really not a bad idea actually. Definitely see. But yeah, I mean, I certainly want to try it on like a laptop or something like that that I know is kind of that I know has the potential, but just doesn't meet up to it. And I think maybe over the internet it might
Oh, for
meet
sure.
up something like that. But yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, I mean, it's with streaming taking over, it's kind of it's is going to get to the point of what's the point in having hardware, like what's the point of upgrading and all that when you have your own. But also the same, right? Like for multiplayer games, I don't know if the infrastructure is really there, like for xCloud. I may be wrong, but
It's it's there, but it's not there for everybody,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's just like you have to have pretty good internet in order to play like you can do it. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
if you're a competitor or anything like that, or like you really are playing the game to win and you want to beat other people and like that's why you like games, then doing cloud gaming right now ain't the play.
yeah,
It's just the latency is a little bit annoying. You're gonna have a huge disadvantage when you're going against other people in these online games where timing input matters.
yeah,
So I wouldn't recommend that. But if you're like, if there are just games that you always wanted to play, like the story driven games, and you want to go through all the campaigns and like just check it out, like, dude, yeah, you should do cloud gaming.
yeah,
Especially like, especially the indie games when they get those on there. It's like not everybody
yeah,
wants to download these games, and if you could just click one button, turn your machine basically into a virtual engine,
yeah,
like you good to go. I mean,
yeah,
that's like I would say that's about like 90% of the reason why I like played Grounded. It's
yeah,
like I thought it looked cool, but I didn't want to download it onto my device. Like we just complained about how like Pod, for example, and these other major AAA titles have like 400 gigabytes worth of storage space required.
yeah,
Not really, but kind of getting there. So yeah, man.
yeah,
All
sure,
that to basically say there's a place for it, but I don't think there's a place when it comes to people that are like playing PvP.
yeah. Well, see, do you ever think it's gonna get to a place where PvP is gonna be like viable over cloud?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Like I could say that I have yeah. There's like no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. That's going to happen in like 2 or 3 years. I
Okay, two or
like
three. Okay.
2 or 3 years, but there's like a caveat with it. You're going to have like fiber or something. Okay, so
Yeah, okay, for
you got to
sure.
make sure that you have like a really good stable internet connection.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
sure.
which is going to become more and more available
I
in
mean,
a
yeah,
lot of cities, dude. So,
yeah. See, it's like I'm sure you're probably right, but at the same time, like we see how like online games, like a bunch of online games perform, especially like when they first start out. It's like, dude, it's so rough. Like, like it makes you wonder. It's like if we can't conquer that, like how can we expect to conquer adding another layer of latency on top of that? You know what I mean? Of like player to actual game and then game to server kind of thing, or client to server,
yeah,
game to or player to client, client to server, because that's like another layer, right?
I see what I see and hear what you're saying. I think that's more based upon the game that you're playing than it is based on the xCloud's like system because the whole way xCloud is possible is entirely built upon the integrity of the servers that you're using.
Yeah,
And Microsoft's aware of that. So if like what makes that a bad product and would make it so nobody uses it, if the latency is so bad or the graphic quality is just so bad that people are just never going to use it. Like, the goal is to make it no different than having top tier equipment in your living room hardwired and, like, plugged in, right? So,
yeah,
all of that's determined based on the connection to the server. So, that's, like, the number one priority, right? Whereas with a game, like a physical game that launches and is just broken, I mean, you're kinda just buying it because it's a hard copy, you know? Like,
yeah,
I don't think there's a little bit more forgiveness that people have with it. Like, a little bit more excuses, like, "Ah, well, at least there's, like, a couple elements of the game you can play offline, you don't need the server," kinda thing, you know?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
where I'm getting at
It's
it.
true.
Whereas the cloud, it's like, "This is the internet, like, you better make it work." You know?
Yeah, very true.
So
Yeah, who knows, man? I'd like to see that. I think a future of, just being able to connect over the internet and have, complete competitive integrity, I guess, maybe the right word of
Oh
like,
gosh.
just
Yeah.
just being able to like sustainably do that.
That's a good point, that's like it won't get rid of some I won't say, like, some forms of cheats that are hardware-based, but all the software-based stuff. Like, imagine it gets to the point where it's like, the only way to play in some of these $100,000 tournaments is you have to be connected to an xCloud machine, so they
Yeah.
know for a fact that you're not cheating.
Yeah, that
I
that's
mean,
a very plausible future.
it's kinda like okay, so it kind of reminds me of, who was it? One of my friends was doing a test or something like that and trying to get a license. I think it was like an MLS license, might have been. And this is during the pandemic, right? So you can't go into a testing station. So they required you to like you had to sign in to a live stream lobby where there are people watching you take the test, and you're
Mhm.
at home, and you have to show the entire room
Yeah.
on camera and, like, your table and stuff like that, and then they're like, "Okay, well, now you can't move."
Yeah.
And
You
you
gotta
have to
say,
stay
yeah.
there until it's done, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same thing, like, that's, the whole point of, like, testing centers and stuff too, so you don't have to, like, worry
Yes,
about that as much. You just, like, go into a room that is, like, can't cheat at, but yeah. Yeah, dude,
exactly.
that's,
Doctors.
man, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if they make it so you have to play on xCloud, that, that'd be huge, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's just an idea I had. I think I like being right, so I hope I'm right.
Yeah. I mean, because you also think about it too, I mean, from a connection standpoint, if you have, if you're playing, like, a multiplayer game and you wanna get everyone on the same servers, you can, if you make, like, the xCloud connections, like, stable enough, assuming you have the right internet, and, you can connect, like, to one general, like, kind of server and then play the game kind of in a more centralized location in a sense, assuming
Mhm.
xCloud has stable connection. Um, yeah, I mean, that could alleviate some of the, some issues like that too if a game's not, pulling, like, right servers, but it's a lot of things. A lot of things here. There's a lot of possibilities with this. Which is why Game Packs and xCloud is so interesting. We always talk about it because it's just like go on forever about it.
Yeah, we're big fans here. Uh-oh.
Yeah. See Mike eyeing his puppy over there. Make
Yeah,
sure he's in line.
he's getting the zoomies.
Oh man. All right, well, you got 30-ish more minutes, puppy. So hold it out. Um
Alright, let's go on to the next one.
yeah. So speaking of holding out, Microsoft and Sony are still kind of it seems that they're still sort of at bat with one another trying to Sony's trying to come at Microsoft saying whether or not it's justified that they still get caught and whatnot. This article is from Video Games Chronicle. It says Microsoft has responded to Sony's claims that the ongoing attempt to acquire Activision Blizzard would be anti-competitive, especially in regards to Call of Duty. We of course reported on this, some of this, maybe just last week. I'm trying to remember. Wasn't too long ago. But yeah, I mean, so at the time they were arguing that back, a couple, yeah, it was last month they argued that COD is so popular that it influences users' choice of console, and its community of loyal users is entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a similar product, it would not be able to rival it. Now, today, in a 27-page document related to the acquisition, Microsoft has replied to these claims, attempting to dismiss Sony's I guess allegations. In the report transcribed by Video Game Chronicle, Microsoft notes that while numerous third parties, including Ubisoft and Bandai Namco, have gave responses to these claims, Sony was the only company that argued Call of Duty was in a genre of its own with no competition. Only one third party, Sony, presented
Materially.
materially different opinions than the applicants of and the other third parties consulted by the SG. Microsoft claims Sony is isolated in this understanding and curiously even contradicts itself in its response to the letter and will be detailed below. Microsoft goes on to state that Sony doesn't want to see COD games on Game Pass on day one because it is resentful of having to compete with Microsoft's subscription service. Um,
Well, they can't compete. I think that's the problem.
that's more issues, right? Um, Sony's public statements on subscription games and its response to the SG's letter are clear. Sony does not want attractive subscription services to threaten its dominance in the digital distribution market for console games. In other words, Sony rails against the introduction of new monetization models capable of challenging its business model. Microsoft also denies Sony's claims that COD is in the category of games in itself, despite the fact that it has a loyal following. Stating that COD has a loyal following is a premise from which does not follow from the conclusion that the game is, quote, gaming category per se, Microsoft claims. Sony's own PlayStation, incidentally, has an established base of loyal brand players. Such a finding, however, does not lead to the conclusion that the PlayStation or any branded product with loyal customers is a separate market for all other consoles, which is a good point.
That's
Like,
an excellent point. They're just like,
it's a good point.
you
Like,
wild.
it was what I mean. It was what I mentioned, right? Like all of
Yeah,
these consoles and all these people they already have their audience. Like I don't know, it's to a
yeah.
certain extent like everyone's winning, right? Like no one's like really losing. And I mean, for Sony to think that the fact that COD could be on Xbox's side, people are just gonna leave Sony like outright, straight up, and not buy any of their products ever again. You know what I mean?
No,
Um,
there's no way that's happening. There's so many fanboys that are still out there. Like, they're gonna be buying those products forever.
and like for real, like. So yeah, Microsoft pretty much completely shot that down. Um, and I mean, and to Microsoft's point, I think they're right. It's kind of not Sony shouldn't have anything to worry about, and I get it's clear and evident that they are. But I mean, look, Sony, you still have so many followers, you still have so much first party power, and
Dude,
especially when
they
you're
let
gaming stuff like that.
I think when it comes to, like, AAA titles for the consoles, because let's be real, maybe Nintendo Switch, it's a console, but it's more of like a handheld. It's a
Yeah,
modular device. So I'm not including that, because we mentioned so many times, and I believe this is, Nintendo is kinda just its own thing, you
yeah,
know?
right.
Um, but with Sony, I feel like Sony just has the better AAA title story-driven games. I mean, for the longest time, all Microsoft really had was Halo, Gears, and Forza, and those have kinda, like, they're not really hype anymore, man. Whereas Sony is locked in with some, like, really nice titles. Like,
Yeah.
God of War alone is better than all that ones for Microsoft. Like,
I mean, it's
they
so
got, like,
true.
Last of Us, like, there's so many games that they have,
Yeah,
and IPs that they have that's super successful. So, I mean, yeah, Microsoft basically came out and stuck it to them.
yeah. You're
Like,
like,
they're
guys, like, relax. And I mean, to sit there and say that COD has that kind of power, I mean, Sony has that kind of power. You know what I mean? Like to just like
yeah.
hold their audience, and it's yeah, it's just a ridiculous claim. So yeah, I mean, they it certainly didn't sound like they like dogged or anything. They were just being honest of like, these are the facts that matter. This is and that's just it is what it is. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see if Sony responds at all, but I mean, I don't know where they would because it's kind of just like, yeah, they're right. Like at least from my
Yeah.
perspective.
They'll probably do some, like, political gymnastics of ignoring everything that Microsoft said and just go back with, like, "But we still need COD on PlayStation." It's like, nobody said it wasn't gonna be on PlayStation.
Yeah, it's just so crazy to me. I mean, to sit there and say that COD is a genre of its own, and having it on Game Pass encourages a large number of players to jump over to Xbox. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, sure, for COD, it's like I get it's a huge player base, but like that's
Yeah.
not the only game people play, and to think that's the only game a lot of people play is crazy. And
Well, the
maybe
other
there's
thing is,
statistics to prove what I just said wrong, but I don't know. That maybe I'm optimistic about
well, maybe, I don't know. It's like, I feel like the only it's it's hard to say, right? Because it's like COD is also on PC. So I think
it. Yeah.
that's really where the issue is. It's like they're not just looking at everybody going to the Xbox. It's like people are now starting to build their own PCs, and they're realizing, like, if you want to be a streamer, if you want to be a YouTuber, you want to create any kind of content, you need a good PC. And if you need a good PC at that point, you're going to look at the graphics when you first get that nice monitor, and you're going to realize that your PlayStation, your Xbox is not keeping up.
Uh,
and
real.
it just looks so much better on a proper setup
Yeah.
for mouse and keyboard, and, I think that might be the underlying issue,
Yeah.
that people just moving on from consoles in general.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, man. And that's certainly bigger than one game, right?
Oh,
Like, I
yeah.
mean, you're already splitting up the ecosystems so much, and PC. I mean, yeah. I mean, to your point, PC's I think more and more relevant and just taking over, and it's kind of just like consoles are just going to be a thing in the past anyway. So, I mean,
Exactly,
I think
yeah.
if anything, Sony needs, and like Sony's kind of done that with PlayStation now, right? Of like the streaming stuff. Um, yeah, I certainly it wouldn't hurt for them to double down on that. I think and really try and hone in something. And I mean, it sounds like they've really started doing that, especially with the new PlayStation Plus. So I think Sony's on the right track to maintain relevancy, and they're certainly not going to die out anytime soon. But but yeah, I mean, especially with the first party titles, if they got like a good subscription service and they like rolled it out like day and date with like a lot of the titles, it's like yeah, I'd even consider it, especially if I got a PS5, it's like
Yeah.
just get that.
Serious.
Um, but I think overall there's still a lot of work to be done in acquiring studios, and we've even reported recently, Sony's like looking into, they're already hiring, like they've hired
Oh,
people to
yeah.
actually like go out and seek for acquisitions and stuff like that. So it's something they
Yep.
definitely need to do, and if they get enough studios under their belt, they could have a release frequency that rivals Game Pass. Of like pretty much every month something new is coming out on Game Pass. Um, Granted, it's not like the biggest AAA titles, but I mean, it's from what we've seen, it's relatively decent games, and
Yeah.
with enough acquisitions, Sony will be able to compete, um, and yeah, I mean, overall, the streaming's where everything's heading. So as long as they can maintain that, they'll be just fine. I don't think they got to worry about COD.
Oh, no, not at all. It's just yeah. It's gonna be a developing story, and I'm interested to see if Sony actually does come back and say something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested too, because I feel like they don't have too much ground, but but we'll see. Um, we'll see. I mean, maybe there's a giant uproar, and there's other people that are saying, well, okay, maybe this whole acquisition from Microsoft, of Activision maybe isn't a great idea, and it gets like shot down by legal stuff. I don't know. Um, Anything could happen, right? So, that's what it is. I also have to say, I saw you multitasking. That
Yeah.
dog was zooming.
Yeah, he is in a mood right now. So, he's got himself a little chew toy. He
um,
barked a few times. Did you hear it over the,
oh, I didn't.
mic?
No.
Yeah, that's RTX voice, baby.
RTX voice on it. So
Yep,
right
we
on.
covered that last episode. Check it out.
You don't hear the dog at all.
Yeah, not even a
Crazy.
little bit.
It's just so funny too, because
Um,
like whenever the dog does stuff and like I don't hear it, it just looks funny when he's like running, like when he's jumping,
oh yeah,
because you just see a dog jump, you don't hear anything.
we figured out what he is. Did I send you the screenshot?
I don't think so. No,
Okay, we'll do that for another time. This isn't a dog
no time.
podcast.
It's not.
Uh,
But speaking,
I'll send it to you
of,
afterwards. I'm excited for this next
I was
episode
gonna,
or
I was,
this next article.
I was just gonna say speaking of dogs, but that would have made no sense. So, speaking of fighting games, if you haven't heard already, there is a new fighting game on the block that has taken
Yeah,
the gaming community by storm, and
everybody's playing
everybody's playing it, man.
it or heard of
MultiVersus,
it. Yep.
MultiVersus. This is a newest offering from WB. WB is taking the plethora of IP that they have, and
Yeah.
probably more than people realized, especially after this game
I
came
had
out.
no idea.
Like, it's pretty insane. But MultiVersus actually, it says it smashed 10 million players in just 3 weeks after the game's been out. Um,
Sheesh.
um, yeah, it's and so I'll read a little bit of the article. It's MultiVersus is a rather pleasant surprise. A few months ago, I wouldn't have expected a Smash Bros. With Arya Stark and Ultra Instinct Shaggy. Just like it's like these weird like you just characters you wouldn't think are together. Um, and it's like when you say something like that, it's like it's crazy. I mean, the article says like you wouldn't think that'd be fun, but like it actually is. And like
Yeah.
from what I've seen, especially on Twitch, that seems to be the case. But yeah, so the Warner Bros. Smash like surpassed 10 million players according to some stats on Tracker.gg. Um, the site says MultiVersus is just over 10,255,000 unique accounts. Tracker GG accesses the game's API to pull its various statistics. That number should be pretty accurate for the most part. MultiVersus launched in closed beta on July 19th before opening up to the masses a week later, meaning the game has gained roughly 3 to 4 million players week on week, which is like wild. Which makes sense. Like I said, we see it everywhere. It says it was also ballparked that being around the 5 million mark a mere 7 days ago, which is some pretty incredible growth. It's worth noting that statistics cover all platforms, though, not just PC. Regardless, that's it's a pretty mighty player base for less than a month, and I would agree with that. Molly Taylor, that PC gamer, I would agree with that statement. Um, it said it had also MultiVersus had a pretty good showing at Evo. I saw some gameplay at Evo 2022. It said there was a 10K prize pot, and 2 underdog champions who subverted the meta to actually claim victory. I didn't see the actual like finals of that tournament, but did see some gameplay of it. It's absolutely crazy. So it says anticipation for season 1 is hot. That was unfortunately delayed last week with no revised date. When it does arrive, expect ranked mode, co-op arcade mode, and a 50-tier battle pass. That is right. Get a battle pass in MultiVersus. 50 tiers, baby. I wonder how long the season's gonna last. Like, I
So
wonder, like,
have you watched all the gameplay of it? Of like all the different characters they have?
I haven't seen all the different characters. I don't think.
Some of
Surely not.
some of
But
them I like you said, I had no idea some of these there were this many, I guess.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like,
There's Bugs Bunny. Um, there's I know what's the name leaving me? Rick and Morty. Yeah, I know.
yes.
I know Morty's in there. I think Rick was. I don't know if Rick's out yet. I saw there was like a bug or something that someone ran into where it actually showed like Rick in the menu, but like he wasn't playable, so it like kind of leaked that he was gonna be in there.
Yeah, he's not technically in yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
he's in
yeah.
the
I mean, Adventure Time. I forget. I didn't watch Adventure Time. I don't know what the main character of that show is, but he's in this. He's actually a sword fighter. It's pretty wild. So
Jake. Jake is his name.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
There's some of that.
there's
Um,
also no, Finn. Finn's the
Finn.
main
Yeah.
guy.
Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Bugs Bunny in it. There's also LeBron James as part of the was it Space Jam? It's like the new Space Jam. Um, so
They also have the Iron Giant as well.
yeah, Iron Giant's in it.
Like,
They have Batman in it because Batman's under Warner
yeah,
Brothers.
yeah, DC heroes and villains in there too. Um, it's nuts, man. Like,
It's just crazy, dude. Um, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, yeah, I had no idea Warner Brothers owned that amount of IP until I saw a screenshot. I think of all the characters that are playable. It's
oh yeah.
insane, dude. So yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's something. I've never been like huge into fighting games, but I may end up checking it out at some point. Because
Yeah,
if it's
I
anything
definitely
like
think
Smash,
it's worth it.
you just hop on for
Yeah.
an hour or two and just like fight people and have a little fun. Yeah, congrats Multiverse, dude. 10 million in 3 weeks, like that's insane. You don't hear that too much. Um, yeah. Do want to move on? Talk about some there's some researchers that actually found a way to shrink a VR headset down to normal glasses size. It's pretty revolutionary, if you ask me. Kind of certainly something I suspect we may see eventually, but this soon, kind of nuts. So this is researchers from Stanford University and Nvidia. They teamed up to help develop VR glasses that look just like regular spectacles. There is and let's see if I can find. Yeah, I have a video screenshot here. There's some ribbons poking out of the top of the glasses, so it looks kind of funny. But I think, of course, the idea is that eventually they'd shrink this down to not look like this. but but right now that's what it looks like. There is a 5-minute video essentially detailing the design, how they came up with a lot of the physics behind it, and how they exactly shrunk down. And I guess the overall concept for like the prototype of how they would get this to work. There's a lot of jargon, a lot of physics, a lot of stuff that, to be honest, I mean, just looking at all this, like, I don't know what's going on, but I mean, if overall, if they can get a if they could get a VR headset in the size of like sunglasses, that
Oh, it's
would be
over.
wild. Are you kidding me? Um, I think the biggest difficulty is how would you power that? Because you'd have to have some sort of continual power. Um, and
USB,
you would have
right?
a dangling kind of USB wire, I guess, at the end of the glass. There's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that. I mean, as long as they, somehow
but
make
why
it
not?
not in the way as much. But yeah, um, unfortunately, no real like what I can see is no real like usage or anything because I guess it's mostly concept. Um, but I mean, once this is pulled off, I mean, it's it's definitely gonna change the game and make VR more accessible overall, which I think everyone wants. I mean, right now price has certainly got a lot better than it used to be. I think for especially if you're going like a Quest or something like that. But it is bulky, you know. You do gotta wear the whole
Yeah,
headset. And that thing is especially with glasses. In some cases, some of those VR headsets are not comfortable with glasses. So
that's very true. And I don't think at least you can fit your glasses in them. I
yeah,
don't think this uh like shrunken version of VR, I don't think you can put glasses on top of glasses. Although I've seen people do that,
yeah,
especially at work. I've seen people do that all the time. They had like one for far sight and then one for nearsighting.
yeah. Which is
It's just
crazy.
like,
It's
yeah,
like
they'll stack them.
yeah, it's wild, dude. I see. I like to me. I feel like if you have VR and like glasses, like there'd be some way to compensate if you have like poor vision. Just like because like you're
Yeah,
that close, right? And it's I mean, again, I don't know all the ins and outs, but I feel like especially if we're getting VR headset in the size of like reading glasses, like surely we can surpass the whole like how do we make it so that people with bad vision don't have to double up or
yeah.
wear contacts or anything. Um,
Excellent point.
yeah, maybe we can conquer that. Who knows? But I mean, yeah, I'd be curious to see what comes out of this. I think for now, of course, just to leave you with the actual photo of the glasses, how funny they look. Because right now it looks so goofy.
That's a
Um,
thumbnail right there.
for real. Um, but yeah, very exciting stuff. I do hope that VR gets to. I think VR surely the technology will get to this like at a mass audience one day. It's exciting stuff.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it will. It's only a matter of time. I mean, we say it so often. It's like with how quickly technology's been like evolving. I mean, we could have this like tomorrow in the grand scheme of things.
All right, ship it out tomorrow to Nvidia. See, this is Nvidia. They're struggling in the GPU market in terms of getting cards out the door. Maybe this is the saving
VR,
grace. This right here,
honestly,
saving
it
grace,
might
dude.
be.
Like
It
straight
might
up.
be.
This is what brings video back on the map. The stock skyrocket. This could be it. Um, what else? The stock is skyrocketing. It's actually our last story. It's the
Moist
top story. I
critical.
want to talk about Moist Critical. He recently launched Starforge Systems with OTK. It was on August 8th. They actually announced this. They teamed up to do a PC building company, Starforge Systems. Um, it seems like for the most part, it seems to be pretty well received from the community. Um, there were some issues regarding some prices. So after the announcement, Starforge Systems came under fire online with critics slamming the prices of its PCs. The company's cheapest computer, the Starforge Horizon PC, starting off at $1,000. Many claimed that they could find similar products for much cheaper. Some fans defended the cost given the expense of the parts of the configuration. However, it wasn't enough to silence critics who went so far to claim that the scheme was a scam, which is kind of wild.
Scheme is a scam.
Um, yeah, it's kind of crazy. But since then, Voice Critical actually hit back with price drop criticism. Um, Voice actually confirmed that Starforge would be dropping the cost of its PCs, although one fan during his stream claimed it was only a response to the backlash. Um, he said, and I quote, "I knew this brain dead take was coming." And so, um, he said, "Quote: What is the point of the criticism if you don't want to see a change? Don't even be mad. The whole point of the criticism is to try to get the change to get done. So we can adapt. We can change it to make it better. And it seems like on his stream he was like building out PCs and anyways, um, yeah. But it seems for the most part they are looking at some of the are looking to lower some of the prices of the PCs to you know to be more to be more friendly to consumers. I mean, I think overall, like my opinion on this, I think like most PC, like if you go to like an iBuyPower or something like that, I feel like for the most part, like you're probably getting a bit of a premium anyway for the build and everything. So it's like, and then like you're getting it professionally done, and it's like it'll work when you get it. So it's kind of like there's definitely some cost in that. Um, but I don't know, it just seems kind of odd to me that like they would immediately kind of shut it down. And I get the whole thing with like Artesian Builds was the most recent kind of downfall. That company went
Oh,
bankrupt, and so it's
yeah,
like
hell yeah.
I think part of that's probably due to the fact that that whole debacle went down earlier this year. So it's kind of like there's probably losing some trust. I think in a lot of these companies, but there's also stuff. There's also tons of companies that do it right. So um, but yeah, I mean, I think you're paying a little bit of a premium for the labor and stuff anyway. So it's like maybe it's justifiable if it's a little bit higher than expected to just build it out yourself. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Well, so this reminds me of a great piece, a great YouTube video that actually came out, I think, 2 years ago. It feels like 2 years ago now. Linus Tech Tips, and we've mentioned him several times on the podcast. Pretty like his content's king.
Yeah,
And what he did is he had two of his employees start calling up all the different uh like popular PC builders, and he basically ordered top tier equipment or whatever. Like I think it was either top tier equipment, but I think it was like their middle budget, like their most common selling that they would think. Like if you want a good PC, it was like $1,200 2 years ago would be a good PC.
yeah,
So he got a $1,200 PC from like four or five different places, and then he unboxed them and did a review on how they did it. And it was basically like some of the brands he destroyed.
Oh
He
man,
also like he also did entire it was like secret shopping, if you're familiar with that. They like called up customer support and pretended like uh if they have a minute like a little small um problem and like it fails to let the PC launch, can the guy on customer service help them?
yeah,
So they would like unplug like a SATA cable from like I think the hard drive
yeah,
or something like that, or like not screwing on the heatsink all the way,
yeah,
and just like calling them up and just asking like, how would this work? So all that to basically say, with PC building, a lot of the times, like you got to remember, it's a for profit kind of deal,
yeah,
and from all the stuff I've seen and from personal experience, even you mentioned I buy power. I got a buddy who got a PC from I buy power. They were buying, like, knockoff, unknown brands, and, like, the equipment was going bad within the first, like, 2 years,
oh,
and
dude,
he had
that's
to
rough.
replace it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
The
rough, man.
water coolers being the one in particular. If you have a water cooler, like an all-in-one, and you're using that, like, 120 millimeter, the single fan radiator, toss it, dude. It's not gonna cool anything. Just get yourself, like, an air cooler. It's gonna be better.
Yeah,
Um
oh man. Hmm.
But with what Moist Critical's trying to do, I think, they got the brand name because of everybody that's on OTK, and a lot of people don't know, but I'll remind it. Like, so OTK was founded essentially 2 years ago in October, and that's with Asmongold, Esfran, Mizkif. They got Soda Poppin' in there now. They got
Yeah,
Emiru in there now. Uh,
got
N
Schlatt, Jay Schlatt.
NMP lol. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Schlatt. It's like they got a bunch of people. So, um their brand is there. It's gonna sell for sure. It's just a matter of like, does this like is this actually a good company that's building good quality PCs that's giving you like what you're paying for is actually worth it?
yeah,
Whereas sometimes when you're buying from like I Buy Power, they won't tell you what motherboard, what anything you're getting.
yeah,
Like they won't tell you the brand. They'll just be like, yeah, you're gonna get a 3080 and like a Ryzen 9 or something like that, and they
yeah,
won't tell they'll say like 36 or 32 gigabytes of RAM, but they won't tell you the manufacturer. They won't tell you how fast the clock speed is. You have to like it's kind of like a lotto. You don't know what you're gonna get.
yeah.
So
That's a good point.
I'm
Um,
curious what they're doing.
yeah, I am too. I mean, overall, like I'm sure they'll hire good people to kind of to run this ship, but it's also at the same time like as like streamers, it's like I know especially like Miskiff, they're all really smart. That's why they're where they're. It's why they are where they are. But it's also
Yeah.
like the whole stick of like that it's like comedy and stuff like that. It's like some people I feel like there may be like hesitancy to be like, oh, do I want to get a PC from this this place? But like I don't know. Then you have Asmongold though, and like that dude is like probably the most intelligent out of all of them. So I'd buy a PC from Asmongold. So it's like,
He
I
he is
mean,
certainly an interesting dude. Well, I just clicked on the website, right? StarforgeSystems.com. First time I've ever been on their website. I go to like their middle tier PC, which is $1,500. It's called the Starforge Horizon Pro PC.
mm,
And this is about this model. I click on that and it literally has it like, okay, this is the CPU, this is the cooler. They have the make, the model number. So it's like if you want to find out how much this really costs, pull up PC Part Picker, look at everything,
yeah,
and get like the cheapest option, see what their markup is. If you think I think whoever's building this, it's worth their time and knowing how to do it. I would say like $200,
yeah,
$200 markup to build a PC,
yeah, just bad.
especially with nice equipment. So if that's my personal view on it, um, but yeah, it already looks like they're better. I can't endorse them because we haven't bought from them, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's worth checking out, I think.
yeah. I mean, I think overall, I'll be curious to see if any stories come out about like customer service and everything, and getting PCs out. But yeah, I mean, I trust that it'll probably be a nice venture. Um, but time will tell. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, overall, that's all I have for this week. This is what we had.
It's a half week for
Right.
us
Yeah. Yeah.
filming this
Sure.
on a Wednesday
Yeah.
because I got stuff going on our
Yeah.
normal recording day. But I
Yeah.
feel like there's not really going to be much happening for the next like week or two until Gamescom. Xbox
Yeah.
already confirmed that they're going to be there. I would imagine PlayStation might if they're not already confirmed. Um, so we're going to be doing some coverage on that coming up.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I feel like Sony mentioned they pulled out. I think we like reported something like that not too long ago.
Did they?
Because it was around the time. It may have been around like Summer Games Fest. But like I think Sony said they weren't attending or something like that. Um. But yeah. Hey, who knows nowadays, man? It's so like I don't know who's gonna be at which conventions. It's like whatever. So
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. It's basically from August 23rd until August 28th. And cosplay competition's going to be there too.
cosplay,
Those
yeah.
things are always wild to see what people create. I think it's so cool, man.
Dude, some of the
It's
yes,
amazing.
some of the coolest cosplays are always at like cons and stuff. It's
Yeah, oh, yeah,
wild. They
for
go all out.
sure.
So good.
So here is a graphic, and I'll read off a couple of the names. So apparently there's over 500 companies registered so far.
True.
This is July 7th. So this is about a month ago. Over a month ago, there was 500 companies signed up. They have 2K, 505 Games, Aerosoft, Amazon Web Services. Interesting. They got AMD there. BenQ probably gonna show off some monitors. They got Bandai Namco. Let's see. HyperX is there. ESL Gaming. That's cool. So a little bit of competition. Then let's see. They do have Xbox on this list. Warner Brothers Games, Ubisoft, and TikTok. I have TikTok creators there. Samsung and SteelSeries. Hopefully, Samsung's showing off their new stuff, um, their new TVs. I'd like to hear about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sega's going to be there. Sega Europe. So plenty of stuff going on at Gamescom, and we're going to cover that for sure.
Yeah. Opening that live. It's gonna be sick. Just saying it
Yep.
now.
Yes, sir.
Oh
Watch
man.
party. Let's get in the Discord.
Let's go. Get the Discord. Come on.
Seriously, that'd be so much fun.
For real.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's it for the week in review, right? You got anything to add?
No, I mean that's I think overall, pretty short week, but but like Mike said, leading up to Gamescom, maybe a little slower, but we'll still give you all the news we got. So
Give you the
don't worry.
rundown.
So yeah, always.
Yep. Doesn't your game Saints Row come out soon? I believe.
Yeah, it's I think 2 weeks. 2 weeks now. It's Tuesday the 23rd. Yeah, so 2 weeks. It's coming up, dude. It's coming up.
Yeah, plenty of games coming.
Oh
At
yeah.
least for the remainder of the year, there's some sleepers in there.
Oh
Cult
yeah.
of the Lamb is coming out tomorrow.
Oh
That
shoot.
so that's gonna be interesting. And Spider-Man remastered and stuff coming to PC.
Oh yeah.
So yes, sir.
It's all
But I
coming.
think we'll go ahead and wrap up here. So I dropped something on the floor. I'll figure that out later. All right. Without further ado, I guess this has been your episode, the Week in Review for the MT Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Antony. My co-host right here, Mr. JK Kyle Heath. And we'll catch you later. Peace out.
Sure. Peace out. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.